All right, welcome back. Internet doesn't look great, but we're good. We're on. We're up. We're live. We're back at the Keyforge Vault Tour. We're in Philadelphia, Pax Unplugged. I am CoDameron. I'm here with Justice Blinded, and actually I'm not going to be here for very long. I have a game against Corey from Team Reapout. Yes?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to be on stream. Eric's going to commentate this one. Hope you enjoy it. I got to go play some Keyforge. Wish me luck. Eric, let me know if you need any help. Everything should be all right. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, internets. I was playing in this tournament. I'm not playing in this tournament anymore. I went 0-2 and decided to end the suffering with some sanity still intact. So, but I am happy to be here and to be casting this very interesting matchup. Okay. I'm happy to be here and be casting this very interesting matchup between two very outstanding top-tier players. Your own CoDameron, Colby, from Bouncing Deathquark, and Corey from Team Reapout, who is an amazing player and both very good guys. We're going to see how this works out. I have been wandering about the room for about, I don't know, a little bit of time, but I have not seen all of the contents of either of their decks. So I will be watching and surprised with you, along with everyone else who does not know their decks. This is a sealed tournament, so it's kind of on theme. So we are we're live. We're getting ready to go. This is round 4 of the Vault Tour here. It is a sealed solo Vault Tour. Worlds Collide. Each player had 3 decks that they were given to open, and they picked one of those to play. Both of these players are 2-1 going into this round. They are playing because the elimination cut is a 5-1 or better cut. They are both. This is functionally an elimination match for both of them. They will not be formally removed from the tournament if they lose, but they will be out of contention for day 2. So this is a high stakes, high drama matchup, and looking forward to some very good Keyforge here. Should be good Keyforge played by both people. It looks like Colby won the randomizer to determine who goes first, and I think he's keeping his hand from what I can tell. Corey is mulliganing, obviously. Corey will be second player, should be drawing 5 cards here. Nope, I'm sorry, he drew 6. That must mean that Corey won the randomizer. I'm sorry. We don't have table audio where I'm casting from, so I'm not 100% positive of that. But it appears as though Corey mulliganed and then drew 6. And he's going to play an arms... no, that's Lieutenant Kirkar, excuse me, on turn 1. All right. Meanwhile, Colby drops 3 Saurian creatures on board. That is... I don't remember what the 2 on the ends are called, but it's the thing with Taunt and Hazardous 2. And then he's got... Is that Stenopus in the middle? I think it gets +3 for... Or each friendly creature gets +2 power for each Amberon, I believe. Fight, Reap. You may exalt Stenopus. And Corey now plays 2 Brobnar creatures, Grumpus and Grok, discarding Volcano. It's always interesting to see Brobnar do well in these sealed formats in Worlds Collide because Brobnar not a deck that's typically known for great... Brobnar not a house in Worlds Collide that's typically known for high value, but in this particular instance... it's often better in sealed because your resources are limited, and fighting has more value in sealed where the decks aren't optimized as they might be in Archon. So you have situations where killing the opponent's creatures, it does not come with the strong disadvantage that it normally does when you're playing in Archon. So Colby, meanwhile, playing 2 Logos creatures, I think it was the mini group Think Tank, and Eddie playing Code Monkey to archive Eddie, gaining 2 while doing that, readying up his cards and drawing. The thing that I will say is that by archiving Eddie, what he does there is I don't know how many Eddies he has in deck, but if he has more than 1 Eddie in deck, then what he has done is he has unfortunately made a situation where he has to pull Archive to get access to Eddie again. So he's chosen there instead to not archive either of the Saurian creatures, which is not necessarily wrong. It'll just be interesting to see how that works out. Meanwhile, Corey's playing a brew. I didn't catch what kind of brew that is, so I don't know what mega he has, but he has a mega in deck, so he's brewed up his Lieutenant Kirkar, Reaping with Grok, and then Reaping with War Grumpus to fight Grok into one of the Saurian Taunt creatures, putting 5 damage, on it. So the taunts already are paying off. Perhaps that is the reason why Colby chose to archive the Logos rather than the Saurian cards. Okay. So Colby playing Philosophosaurus. He's played an upgrade on Stenopus. I believe that's... I think that's Scudam, Imperial Scudam. And I'm not sure what the tokens are that he's putting on Scudam. He might just be indicating power by putting those tokens, but I'm not quite sure what those are supposed to indicate. He's got obviously an Amber on there. Don't know what he's doing here. So he's passed back. We'll try to figure out what those non-Amber tokens are on the middle Saurian creature there. Corey's called Star Alliance is fighting Kirkar. I think is fighting Kirkar? He's trading Kirkar. With the Saurian creature, he's then playing Red Alert for 3, damaging all his opponent's creatures for 3. That kills 2 of Colby's creatures. Frayne is capturing 1 on War Grumpus. Oh, I think those are armor. I think that's what those tokens are. That makes sense. That's why he's refreshing them at end of turn. So he's indicating the armor of that creature in the middle. There's 4 armor currently with the upgrade. Scudam, that makes perfect sense. Corey's at 3. It looks like he's passed back. I think he's passed back. Both players are looking at different things in their field of play. Okay. So both players are considering their lines of play here. I apologize, I'm not quite sure who the active player is. Looks like Mike Colby is the active player as he's holding cards out in front of him. So he's going to call Brobnar. He's going to play Blood Money to put 2 extra Amber on the Grumpus, presumably intending to kill it this turn. Warrior's Refrain, stunning all creatures 3 or below. That's just the Grumpus, but he gets an Amber off the Refrain. He then plays a Stiltkin, and then the Glare, I'm assuming a Giant, because he couldn't fight with it. I think that's Alaka off the top. He plays Alaka to fight, deal 2 damage to Frayne. Passes back. In check at 6. Corey's turn here to try to make something happen. I think I see a Fangtooth Cavern in his hand. That wouldn't be excellent for him right now, but it could be good because of Grumpus, but it could be good later, just in terms of board control. Fangtooth Cavern says, at the end of turn, destroy the least powerful creature. Right now, okay, well, right now that actually would be the Stiltkin on Colby's board, but he's going to have to continually play stuff in order to... Oh, here we go. So we have a okay, so this has been a subject of rulings. Corey has played a Ghost Hawk in the middle of his line here. Corey has reaped with Frayne to capture one. He has unstunned Grumpus. It is not clear that this is a legal play. Corey's not doing anything wrong. I believe the current ruling at this tournament is that playing Ghost Hawk next to a stunned creature will allow you to unstun it. I'm of the opinion that that's incorrect, but it's a very unclear ruling that we do not know, but my understanding is the judges of this tournament have ruled that Ghost Hawk is allowed to unstun a in-house creature by using that allowed to reap window. So that is what happened there. It's an interesting rules argument, but that's how it's being ruled here currently. Meanwhile, Corey played a regrowth to get, I believe that was Armsmaster, no, Kurkar. I think he pulled Kurkar back, potentially intending to taunt Frayne later next turn. He's in check at 7. He passes back to Colby, who is no longer in check because Frayne captured an Amber, taking him off check. So the Ghost Hawk debates continue in terms of whether or not Ghost Hawk is allowed to do that, is allowed to unstun, or allowed to allow a Brobnar creature to unstun in that exact hypothetical. And as I said, it has not been formally settled by FFG, but that is the current ruling at this turn. At any rate, play continues. Colby now up, looking to his hand. Looks like he's got a fair amount of Logos in his hand. I think he pulled his archive, so he's almost certainly calling Logos because that's what was in his archive. So Colby does call Logos, plays Information Exchange to steal one. Now playing Eddie to archive a card. I didn't see what he archived there, but he archived a non-Logos card, certainly. Playing Jargoggle up top. Putting a card under Jargoggle. Playing Discombobulator on the Groupthink Tank, which means his Amber cannot be stolen as long as that upgrade still exists. Using the Seismo Entangler to say that Corey cannot reap with Brobnar next turn. Passes back, check at 7. Corey's keys cost 7 because of the Eddie and the one card at archive, so he takes Corey off check there. Corey calls Star Alliance, plays stealth mode, forcing Colby to not be able to play any more actions. So Colby is going to be restricted to creatures, upgrades, and artifacts next turn. I believe that is a force field that Corey just played on his Frayne, so he's going to reap and capture an Amber and put the Amber on Ghost Hawk, and he also warded Frayne because of the upgrade of the force field. Then plays Kurkar on the right, and he's contemplating where to play, I think that's Engineer Walls? The thing that lets you return stuff to hand. I think he's contemplating whether to put it under Taunt. If he has really anything else in deck at all worth protecting, he doesn't want to put it there. There's a judge pushing at the table. I'm trying to figure out what it is. One moment. Okay, so what was just going on at the table? There was a very interesting question that was made. The question was, because Corey played stealth mode, what happens if Colby has put an action under Jargoggle and Colby attempts to kill Jargoggle, or does kill Jargoggle on his turn, which would normally result in the thing under Jargoggle being played? So the ruling is that if Jargoggle is actually hiding an action, then once Jargoggle dies, the action will attempt to be played because that's the destroy trigger on Jargoggle. However, the action will not be allowed to be played by the stealth mode that Corey played the previous turn. That means that the action will return to where it came from, but where it came from no longer exists because Jargoggle is dead. So what that means is that it would just be discarded. This is similar to a situation that would happen if you tried to play a wild wormhole when you weren't allowed to when you weren't allowed to play creatures because of a life ward or weren't allowed to play actions because of a stealth mode. It would just return to top of deck. And so what it does is it tries to return to the place whence it came from. However, that place no longer exists, and therefore it could not do what it wanted to do. So that was the lengthy explanation as to what the judge question was. I still don't know whether it's an action under Jargoggle, but if it is, that's good to know in advance. So back to live action here. He did end up playing the Chief Engineer Walls on the left, which I think is Corey did, which is absolutely the correct move. If he has anything worth taunting at all, because the Kirkar up top is taunting, and you don't need to protect the Chief Engineer Walls. It's elusive, and it's just not important enough to protect. And if he's got anything of substance or consequence at all coming up in the pipeline. Meanwhile, Colby does forge his first key. Corey's on check now. With 9, his keys cost 8 because Eddie is on the board and Colby has 2 cards in archive. But Corey's currently on check, and Colby just forged his first key. So now Colby making a decision as to what house he's going to play. I did not see the entire contents of his hand. Let's see if we can get a glimpse. He's got Saurian, Brobnar, mostly Brobnar. So he's thinking about calling Brobnar here, using the Alak on board, just cycling through more of deck. He might also consider doing something that can take Corey off check, but I don't know if any of those options are available to him. He could try to find something with Reaping with Philosophosaurus, but instead he goes to Brobnar, opts to play the most cards, and he's probably going to allow Corey to get his first key, which is fine in this early stage of the game. Colby making a judgment call that board development, game progression is more important than taking him off check, which is usually right this early in the game. Colby also taking this opportunity to use the Brobnar to clear out some portion of Corey's board, fighting the lock into Frayne, which had already had its ward stripped by Stiltkin, killing Frayne, getting the Amber back, playing another Warriors Refrain. I don't know if that's his second or he recycled it. I think that might be his second. He might have 2 Warriors Refrains. He should be stunning Grumpus, I think. Or did he discard? Yeah, he must have discarded it because there are multiple... Yeah, it would stun most of his board. So that's probably the right call to discard it. He ends up not stunning the Grumpus, but, you know, not a high price to pay given that he would be stunning most of his board. All right. So, Corey with his second. He has 2, at least 2 Fangtooth Caverns. Playing his second Ghost Hawk. Reaping with both creatures to get 2 Amber. This is a solid Untamed set so far from Corey. The double Fangtooth is going to get very interesting because he's pretty clearly going to be destroying 2 of... Yeah, he's destroying Jark and Stiltkin. I think Stiltkin might have an upgrade on it that makes it more powerful, though. So I think he's determined that I think it makes it 4. So we had to kill his own Ghost Hawk. But getting 2 Fangtooths in play with the board advantage by Colby is still a good idea in my opinion, especially if he's got other things in deck that can help generate Amber. So Colby's board is going to start disappearing if Corey can either play big creatures or rely on his turns to play actions or upgrades that gain Amber and that don't necessarily put more cannon fodder on the board for his caverns. The one thing that will happen along that path, though, is that War Grumpus, which is on Corey's side of the board, is a 3, which I believe makes it, if not in the next round of caverns, potentially in the round after that. And as soon as that happens, he's going to give Colby 3 Amber, and if he does that when Colby is within shouting distance of a key, it's going to give Colby 3 Amber that he can't respond to at the end of turn. So that's going to be a problem for him to make sure to keep an eye out for on the horizon. He doesn't want to hand over keys to Colby, but he's kind of locked into his path now, and he has to see what he can do to manage the damage. Colby contemplating his options here, deciding what house to play into. He's got several different options. He could go into Saurian. He hasn't played that in a while. He could Reap with Philosophosaurus. He's extremely likely, just based on the fact he hasn't played Saurian in a while, that of the 3 cards that are going to be pulled off the top of library, he's going to find probably at least one Saurian one. Not guaranteed, but probably. So depending upon what else he has in hand, he might want to use that. He also has Saurian cards in his archive, which he just pulled, and he does exactly that. He Reaps with Philosophosaurus. He's going to look at the top 3 cards of his library. He's going to take one into his hand. He's going to archive one, and he's going to discard one. Wow. Oh, no, wait. He did find a... Did he find a Saurian? He looks like he had a Saurian card, Tantu Vapors, and a Brobnar card. Vapors is very good. You probably want to archive that card. I don't know what the Saurian card is, but I can't imagine a universe in which you wouldn't take the Saurian card into your hand. So I think he's going to archive Vapors there. We should see a Brobnar card hit the discard. Oh, no. Okay, so he discarded Regrettable Meteor. I guess that's fair. The only... Well, I guess the Brobnar card may have been worth keeping, I'm assuming. That's the reason he put it in archive, or he's just stashing it there because he didn't want to use it. He uses Favor of Rex on his own Eddie to archive another card. That means he probably kept Vapors in hand, intending on to go into Logos next turn. Vapors is a fine card, obviously, but if you're intending on going to Logos next turn, I guess you don't want to archive it, because Eddie does keep you off key. But he's tributing here now. So given that he's playing tribute, I think... Well, I think I might have chosen to archive the Vapors given that he's playing tribute because currently Corey is not threatening for a key, and it looks unlikely based on board state that he'll be able to do that for much longer. Also, Colby's going to have to pull archives because Eddie's going to get killed by the Fangtooth Caverns very soon unless he has some sort of a way to do that. Unless he has some sort of way to get around that, and therefore you shouldn't be archiving things intending for them to be defensive weapons unless you have more Eddies coming up, which is entirely possible. While I've been explaining all of this, Colby has played 2 Tributes and a Chant of Hubris to move 1 Amber to War Grumpus. So he's taken, even in my opinion, even more of a reason why you should not care a lot about your archives as a defensive Amber control weapon at this moment, because Corey literally has no Amber on his board. Now, we did put the Amber on... Oh, we put the Amber on larger creatures. I thought he put it on Stiltkin. I was going to talk about that decision because Stiltkin is among the creatures likely to die pretty soon from the cavern. So Corey, meanwhile, it's back on Corey's turn. Colby is on check for 8, by the way, for second key. The white disc in front of Colby is one of his keys. It's the blue key. And Corey has forged 1 key already. Corey contemplating his options, thinking about going into Brobnar. Does go into Brobnar. Mega Mog Hunter. So the Mog Hunter ability, I believe, is fight, deal 2 damage to a flank creature, and the Mega takes it from a 6 to an 8 power. So it's a big fella. A good thing to play, given that you have 2 Fangtooth Caverns on board, and Colby's entire board, it looks like, is lower than 8, so that's a very safe play. Corey is perhaps considering fighting into Eddie. Oh, he's reaping. No, that makes sense. You shouldn't fight Eddie with War Grumpus. He's reaping and he's going to be fighting with the Mega Mog Hunter into something. We'll find out what the something is in a moment. Could kill Ludo, because if he kills Ludo is the thing that's currently preventing the Amber at the top of Colby's board here, from his position, the left, but from the camera's position, the top. Ludo is the thing that is keeping that Amber from returning to Corey when those creatures are killed, if that were to happen. So Ludo's a pretty good target. He is, however, going to kill the Groupthink take, which says his Amber can't be stolen, so maybe he has some stealing coming up. Corey playing Berserker Slam. Okay, I see. So he attacked with the Mog Hunter into the anti-steal mechanism, dealing to Perfectorus Ludo, putting him within range of the Berserker Slam, which he does use successfully. He kills Colby's Ludo, meaning that the other pieces of Colby's board are now available to be killed He Fangtooth Caverns 2 creatures on Colby's board. He plays another Mega. He's got a Mega Shorty. Mega Shorty is one of my most favorite cards in terms of flavor. Plays Mega Shorty, which is, it's great that it's a Mega because he's a 6. And again, he puts Colby's creatures square within the path of the Fangtooth Cavern. However, Colby forges his second key at the beginning of turn. So this is now going to be a race for Corey to try to manage Colby's board state fast enough to prevent him from racing to that third key, meanwhile trying to generate Amber himself. So he's going to need some pieces of Amber control here. We'll see if he's able to find them. Colby trying to find something of his own by playing Tatau Vapors. He, I believe, had nothing in his draw pile, so because the trigger on Vapors has to draw 2, so he recycles his discard pile, offers his opponent a cut, and he draws 2 cards and archives any card from his hand. Oh, that's interesting. So we archive something, but I saw that he has Code Monkey in hand. Playing Code Monkey here is exceptionally rough unless he has 2 other Logos creatures to play first. You don't really want to archive Philosophosaurus. You definitely don't want to archive the 2 Brobnar creatures that have Amber on it, because the Amber would immediately go to Corey, and that's not good. Like, you'd rather, if those are the only options you have, you'd rather just straight discard Code Monkey, but he probably has other options. So he's going to play Entropic Swirl, killing the Grumpus, and finally... Oh, no, doesn't kill the Grumpus. Oh, he put 2 damage on it because it's only 1 trait. However, he's going to Twin Bolt, finally killing the Grumpus, putting 2 more damage on the Mega. Mega is, I believe, up to 7? I think he's 7 damage on the 8-power creature. Gets all that Amber back, plays Cutthroat Research for the Amber, and now he's just building up a pool. And now Corey has a real problem, because Corey needs to find answers immediately to the Amber situation that Colby has. Colby has 8 Amber in pool. He plays the Group Think Tank. He plays the Code Monkey. He does play the Code Monkey. Wow. So just, I guess, assuming that Corey will have to come up with too much to deal. It'll be too difficult for him to deal with all of the archive. He has 5 cards in archive currently. He's in check for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's in check for 10. Colby saying that Brobnar, I believe, is not allowed to reap. So Corey needs to deal with the Amber situation. Would also like to go to check. Those are the 2 objectives for Corey's turn. He will be able to kill stuff with Fangtooth Cavern at the end of turn if it matters, right? He needs to find Amber control right now. So he's going to play Deepwood Druid, is I believe the name, fully healing the Mega. That's good, but he still needs the Amber answer here, or the key cost answer. Plays Giant Gnawbill, Cauldron Boil to kill the Philosophosaurus, putting himself on check. But does he have an answer to Colby's particular Amber advantage here? And I don't think he does. I think he's... Oh, he kills 2 things, and that's it. Colby has won. He made the correct decision, choosing to play the Code Monkey. The reason he played the Code Monkey, or the benefit of playing the Code Monkey there, is because he archived 2 Brobnar cards. He did give Corey Amber, but he figured he was already up a key, and he just wanted to push as fast as he could to get to the end of the finish line there, hoping that Corey would run out of answers. And by getting up to 10, Corey could not respond adequately in time. In fact, I don't know if he had any Amber control at all in hand. It's unfortunate, but nothing. Oh, Corey reveals that he has the 3rd Fangtooth Cavern in his deck. That is super gross. 3rd Fangtooth Cavern, double Medic, another Brew, double Mega, double Brew, 3 Fangtooth Caverns, double Medic. I keep saying double Medic, but that's a real gross deck, with Red Alert especially. It's very unfortunate. Corey takes his 2nd loss in this tournament. Will continue playing if he chooses to, but is now eliminated from contention for day 2 due to the brutally harsh cut mandated by FFG, which is a 5-1 cut. Perhaps something that can be addressed in the future. Certain events do not have a hard 5-1 cut, but Vault Tours have since their inception, other than for survival events. A very good matchup here. We'll see if we can get some of the competitors, see if we get Colby to come back here and talk about choices he made in the round. Speaking of which,
I am back. Did I play good?
Yes, you did. I was the one major point of strategy I was talking about was at the end there, where I was discussing the decision to code monkey the Brobnar creatures at Hand of Amber, and I guess ultimately you just want to push to Amber there because you're so far ahead. You're up a key.
I'm greedy.
Well,
that's what I said.
So greedy is one word, intelligent is another word, right? So like, I was contemplating whether or not it was right to give him the Amber. It does not put him on check. Like, it doesn't give him the key immediately.
Right.
And because that doesn't happen, you just want to go, okay, I'll go to 10. Like, you ask the question, right? You say, do you have an answer? You need more than just a little bit of an answer. You need to come up with, there's nothing on board that can deal with it.
I gotta get this to you guys.
Yeah, you need to come up with 4 or more, more than 4. You had 10, right? So you got to come up with a bunch on a hand.
There was a big turn where I played like 8 Saurian cards or 7 Saurian cards.
Yeah.
That was almost a Brobnar turn. Yeah. And I was doing the math. I'm like, but I get this really cool, efficient play, and I go, hold on a second. This is just way too much value to not do the Saurian turn. I just did it, and I'm like, wait a second, I guess I win now.
So the one other point of tactics that I remember that I think I might have disagreed with, but I was trying to remember. There was a turn where you, the Philosophosaurus hit. You archive Vapors.
No. I put the.
You put Vapors in hand.
I put the Logos cards in hand, and I put the Brobnar cards underneath because I expected myself to play Logos more readily.
Okay. I guess that because what I was thinking was if you were doing it because of Eddie, like you're not likely to have an Eddie hit matter for a while because you play double tribute that turn.
Right.
But I guess if you're going into Logos anyway, I guess the counter to that is I don't care whether it benefits Eddie or not. It doesn't matter.
It was definitely hold 2. It was 2 Brobnar cards and 2 Logos cards. I could hold either of them. Right. And I really was splitting hairs between them. And I just made the call. I said Power of Fire in my hand is more situational, so it belongs in the archive.
Power of Fire was the third card?
It was the one where you sack a guy and you lose half the amber equal to half the power.
Gotcha.
I think that's Power of Fire. I don't know.
Yeah. The only alternate solution, the only alternate line I was considering was you could take Regrettable Meteor in hand just to discard Regrettable Meteor and archive Vapors.
And then
discard Power of Fire as well.
I was on a Saurian turn. Why didn't I play Regrettable Meteor? Because it was bad.
Well, you don't play it. I understand that, but you could take it to discard. That's what I meant. Given that you're not like, but I understand. But again, that's nitpicking. Everything looked pretty standard from both sides.
There were some choices I made mid game, just to I made a couple of concessions. Fine, you can have this key, but I get this thing. The Fangtooth Caverns made everything weird.
Triple Fangtooth Cavern.
Yeah, and you double on board, and he didn't have the Ingrams. He showed me afterwards.
So double medics. I was commenting on how gross that was when he was dropping other cards off his hand in the deck.
But I realized that I could just take his Amber, and I could just do fun things to him. Oh, here comes my Siltkins, here comes my Brobnar guys. And I was just letting the deck do what it did. I felt like the deck was playing that game, and I was just letting it do what it told me to do.
Make no mistake, you made a lot of strategic considerations there. And literally the only nitpick I had was that, and it's not even that much of a nitpick.
It was I verbalized that I'm a greedy guy. Here comes my greedy play. Bah. Yeah. And then what that also does is I've got 3 Stiltkins and only 2 Giants, so they're just kind of like 2 power guys that have skirmish. Yeah. But code monkeying the Stiltkin and a Giant is a free attack.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good game.
Definitely. Well played. Congratulations. You're still in it. You're a 3-1 now. Got to win 2 more to make day 2.
I got to go put this away.
You got to go do that. But, maybe I'll talk to Corey for a second.
Well, I'm going to put this on the music.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk to Corey?
I was saying I could talk to Corey for a second. Do you want to talk?
Sure, what are we talking about?
Welcome to the internet.
Hey, internet.
Hey, so I got Corey here. So that was a very interesting matchup. First of all, given that I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but given that you're X2, like you opened a deck with 3 Fangtooth Caverns.
Yep.
Let's talk about how crazy that is. 3 Fangtooth Caverns, double medic. Do you have more than 2?
Double medic.
Double medic.
Yep. Which is what I was looking forward to with the two brews.
Right, and they make it bigger. Right, you have 2
5s.
megas. Right, they're already going to be bigger than almost everything else. And then 2 brews. So
2 Karkars.
2 Kirkars, who are also big.
Marlena.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
the Star Alliance board, that's how I won previous games.
I was going to ask,
ward everything, because I have force field, so I put that on.
So you put that on a medic, and you use the medic to ward other things. You put that on anything, really. Yeah, anything. Yeah. And so what was your experience been like today in previous matches? You had 2 wins and 1 loss coming into this round.
Yep.
Okay.
And so The biggest thing is it needed to rush. There's like no amber control. None of my decks had amber control
Right.
pretty much across the board.
Yes.
The only shadows I had 2 hugger buggers. That was the extent of the amber control.
Not premium. Not ideal.
Unfortunately, the rush isn't ultimately there if I can't keep the board and draw into my Ghost Hawks.
Right.
I drew one of them really early in that game. In other games, the Ghost Hawks have done a lot of work.
So that was one of the very interesting things that I saw, that you have this kind of interesting mechanic where you ghost hawk all the stuff, and then your ghost hawks go away because of the cavern, but it doesn't really. Then you redraw. What do you have? 2?
2 Ghost Hawks.
2 ghost hawks. Yeah, that's pretty gross.
So when it fires, it's great.
Yeah.
But Ingrams are at the bottom.
Yeah, it's rough
They're
when you don't get the medics, and but that's unfortunate. But still, you played very well. There wasn't a whole lot you could do in that situation. I didn't have any quibbles when anything happened. So
Cool. I'm good to hear that.
yeah, indeed. So yeah. Just,
Thanks.
indeed. No, thanks for coming on, talk. I appreciate it. Thanks for playing. So we'll see. I don't know what to do with this thing, so we'll
Game, bud.
we'll give some get some advice here how to do whatever we're doing with music and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a lot of buttons I gotta hit.
All right.
I'm gonna put the music on, and we'll be back for round 5.
5.
All right. Bye.